Welcome back to Echo Ridge and another episode here in our Max Dupe run, aka Duplicity. We have a lot to do today. I know, seems like we have a lot to do every day. But in this case, it's time to expand and start setting up some more permanent infrastructure, which means I need to gut the majority of this planetoid. But before I do that, we have some, slow dupes who have a problem making it all the way up this ladder because the travel distance is so long. That, and combined with the fact that, I want more morale for all of our duplicants, means it's probably time to start adding some downtime. I'm going to start with the 3 blocks, which means their morale will go from a +1 for the downtime morale to a +2. Now, full disclosure, Clay just posted some patch notes that's going to change this functionality. Long story short, there's going to be some schedule UI changes, but also what appears to be the fact that duplicants are going to get more used to their downtime and thus start losing that morale bonus. We'll see the exact way Clay decides to implement that, but for now, don't get too used to this. And as you heard in the background, it's already time to add another dupe. And you might be wondering why I'm not going 4 blocks. Well, I may, depending on how things go around the colony. If I keep seeing more starvation messages and things of the like, I'll just add another downtime slot. It's not like we're hurting on the dupe labor, so we can afford giving the dupes a little bit more time off. This blueprint was pretty uneventful. We have a narcoleptic here, building impaired, another whiff. In this case, I think Gene is the obvious answer. They'll just be a plain Jane farmer who doesn't like to cook. Well, I say farmer, but we know that means farming and ranching, but the priority will be on the farming. Welcome to duplicate number 47, Callie. One of the reasons we're going to be ripping through the planetoid is because I need to put a major power spine in. We're still rocking a bunch of 2-strand wire that can only hold 1,000 watts, and we need to start upgrading it all to 2,000 watt conductive wire. So that's on the agenda as well, except I think this whole place is now working off the hydrogen. Not a lot of power draw here. So I think we can also get rid of these, because I'm probably going to need to use this whole row for some more barracks here soon, because we only have 3 beds left. But I was looking at putting the power spine up along the left side of the map for now. Eventually we'll have it as a giant U, so that way no matter where we need power, we can drop a power transformer and just run a wire over. The issue with this side is some of the neutronium. You'll notice that the neutronium, for instance, right here, comes out pretty far. And if you figure we're going to have 1 space for the heavy watt wire and then 3 spaces for the power transformer, that's going to bring the main ladder run for that power corridor around here. Yeah, we do have this giant pond that's going to get in the way, but we'll eventually move that over. In addition, I want to start scouting the oil biome so we can see what other vents and geysers are down there. But in order to do that, I need to get a suit set up because this is entirely too hot for the dupes. And I think it's going to go right here. Because as I said before, we're not going to be running any of the Peggies. So, I'm going to demolish all of this. So I think we're going to start by actually getting in here, ripping all this out. Maybe as an ode to what the point of interest was, I'll leave the room, but I will be getting rid of the biobot building itself. Making sure, though, that we inspect everything first so we can get all those juicy data banks. And then finally, somewhere in the background, I'm going to have to start working on another SPOM. We're up to 47 duplicates. We have oxygen right now for probably 60 to 65, but it is definitely something I need to keep an eye on. We also have Draco eggs, specifically glossy Draco eggs that are about to start coming up. This one glossy Draco's at 79 incubation, and at 3% per cycle, we're looking at about 7 more cycles until we have access to plastic. Well, actually 5 more after that, because you can't shorn a baby. You have to wait for them to grow up to an adult. And I think the first order of business when we do get that plastic, I say first, but we're probably going to do it simultaneously, is to set up a base cooling infrastructure and our deep freezer. We're up to over 650,000 galleries, which means we are starting to lose some of those to rot piles. Now, it's not so bad because we're eventually turning that rot pile that turns into polluted dirt into oxygen, but the point remains the same. In fact, I'm going to make some changes here. Yeah, I want this to be nice and tight. That way the deodorizers have the opportunity to pick up the polluted oxygen. But I think I can get rid of these tiles. That way there's a little bit more room for the sublimation station to emit oxygen. Oh no! What happened? What happened? Output pipe full. Oh, the 50-50 split here is not working out well. It is running a little too slow, which means I need to prioritize this line to be dumping. It's because I started emptying this polluted water here through the sieve and then adding it. But that can definitely wait. So what I'm going to do is just put a bridge right here. And that way, this line will have priority. The last thing I need is 47 dupes all making a mess. Come on, dupes. Don't make this any harder than it has to be. And it looks like we're going to need a directional bridge as well. Because now it wants to just split this line. So there's the directional bridge. Please hurry. Oh, and I made matters worse. When I deconstructed these tiles, apparently that was not pee on the floor. It was 10 kilos worth of polluted water. Oh, come on, Echo. This is not a great way to start this episode. Now, as you can see, when the excess water from the toilet system is coming through, this water starts backing up. All right, this system should be working again here in a minute. Hold your pants. Oh, and we're getting circuit overloaded. What happened here? Let's find out what I can take off of this line. We have another line here. What's running so much? First, I should put some automation in here. This is only 10 watts, but every little bit of power savings helps. Oh, it's not big enough. That way we only turn this light on when there is a duplicate sleeping in the cot. There we go. 10 watts down. What else do we have? Why don't we break this line off? Or maybe even the kitchen. That's what we'll do. We'll take the electric grills and the research area and put it on this circuit here. And that should free up that line easily. Now getting down in here, I am going to have to drain this water and I could pump it, which might be the smarter choice. My other option was to just dig a hole into the ice biome and let all that water come down here and turn into ice. But to be quite honest, we have plenty of ice and I'd rather have the water. And this little area is not doing great, so why don't I add another vent? Of course, if I sieve it, I can just send it directly into the oxygen supply. Yeah, let's do that instead. This line is doing okay, but if I add another sieve and another pump, it will not be. Whereas this line is doing plenty good. What else can I take off of here? Oh, there's a line right here. Where's this going? Oh, this is from our natural gas generator. That's perfect. We'll use this. Oh, this is going to be a problem transporting. I had put the pipe down and then I realized, oh, this is minus 34 degrees, which means this run is going to be a lot more expensive than I had planned because it's going to need to be insulated. For the note, we started at 172 tons worth of sandstone. And by the time we get it back up here to normal, we're at 145 tons. And it's still too cold. What's the temp down here? 15 degrees? That should be okay. As long as I keep it insulated and then flowing, I should be able to put it directly into here. And I'll also make sure this is bridged on. That way we're not using water from our main tank and we're prioritizing using all of this water. I was considering putting a light system above each of the electric grills so that they'd get the well-lit buff while there was a dupe using the electric grill. But the reason I'm not is because, well, we have plenty of food, and I don't necessarily need it to be cooked faster quite yet. Once we get a primary kitchen for the colony, then I'll worry about those sort of upgrades, but for now, this will do just fine. I suppose the best place to start our massive dig is going to be in here. I'm going to be leaving this little bucket, and I'm going to have to try to collect all this salt water so I can sort it. But it doesn't look like there's any other type of water, so I can just drop everything into this tank here, going up. Still no other types of water, more salt water, and then of course this polluted water here, which I can drain now. In fact, let me just go right to the source. That way it'll all drain just fine. And yeah, it looks like in the locker we did find a snazzy suit. That's snazzy suit number 2. And as I said before, we're going alphabetical, so Andy, congratulations on your next suit. Right now, we're sitting at a decent 135 units of reed fiber. Once we get that number into much healthier levels, then I'll start making snazzier suits for everybody, but that's not quite a priority. One thing I did want to do, since I've added another barracks and we don't have much going on, is add some more paintings. But what I'm waiting for is Josh Manchester to get another couple of skill points. That way we don't have anything but masterwork art. So I'm going to try to remember to do that as well. Cycle 135, time for another dupe. We have a bottomless stomach, a narcoleptic, and a small bladder. This stinky here is a loner, which is not one of the traits you see very often. And it means they get +4 bonus to all attributes when they're the only duplicate on a world. Like, I'm all about my me time as well, but I don't think I want to be the only person on the world. Welcome to duplicate number 48, Malbat86. We still are getting a bunch of starvation messages, so reluctantly I am going to add another downtime slot. This will raise the morale to +3, which will additionally help with duplicates getting back from super long distances like up here. Another major area that I am digging out is up here because this is going to be the location of our next SPOM. It is conveniently located next to a smaller tundra biome. That's not going to be too big of a deal because this is also where I think I'm going to put that base cooling and deep freezer steam turbine thermo aqua tuner system. Now, unfortunately, the duplicate's going to get all sorts of chlorine gas, but I have to get through it eventually. I will scoop up the bleach stone as I find it. And once I start seeing a bunch of chlorine and stuff stacking at the bottom, I will build that massive line that goes all the way to the vacuum of space, and we'll start dumping all of our junk gases. Okay, this is plumb ridiculous. We're up to 800,000 calories. I'm going to cut back more on the meal ice. This seems like a rational idea. In fact, I'm getting rid of all the meal ice. I'll try to pay attention to the calorie count. If we're not actually using it, I'd rather just not grow it in the first place, but I do need to be careful because we are printing a new dupe every few cycles. Cycle 138, a few okay choices, but in this case, we're going to grab this very cute Bubbles just because we have enough farmers and ranchers right now, and it might be good to have another rocketry operating dupe. Perfect for making those data banks in space later on. Well, if we survive till then. Welcome to duplicate number 49. Gabby Gabs. Cycle 141, not much has happened around the colony other than, well, a lot more digging. And we find ourselves with a mouth breather, a yokel, and an undigging. So I think the option's pretty clear. We're going to go with the yokel. This Abe's going to be another excellent rancher and farmer. They even have green thumb to boot. Welcome to the colony, duplicate number 50, Alyssa Alcaraz. I think I'm going to make this stupid choice of going in here and tackling this sporkid. The difficult thing is going to be this amber fossil, which is a part of the ancient specimen story trait. Because when trying to block this in, well, you're not going to be able to get around the fossil. But what I think I can do is actually use this water as a sort of liquid lock. Something like this. I'll give you an update in a few cycles to see how this goes, because I really do not want to have 50 zombies running around this planetoid. Of course, it would be fun to watch the slime lung germs and the zombie spore germs go at it. For those who didn't know, two types of germs can't be in the same tile together. Doritos P's doing a great job excavating the amber fossil. Once I get the check mark, I'll be able to remove it, and then maybe I'll just wait the 100 cycles or so for all the zombie spores to go away. Because once you kill the source of the zombie spores, they should eventually die off. Okay, this one is a new one. Luckily, there's enough polluted oxygen up here for Dave Hammer to breathe. Somehow, even though we were only digging this, Dave Hammer is ended up way up here. Think they'll be able to get down with a ladder here and a ladder here. And here we go, Dave is now safe. Let's find out how that fared for Dave. Full bladder, major eye irritation, hungry, unrested, cold bedroom, sore back. Apparently they slept up there. Sorry, Dave. Well, this is an interesting pod here at Cycle 144. It's either the doctor or the operator. They both have grease monkey and they're both building impaired. Welcome to the colony, duplicate number 51, Chris Hoffler. Hello, freshly shorn, glossy Dreco. Look at that beautiful plastic. We've hit a milestone. Additionally, I think I've managed to get all the Tier 1 and Tier 2 research done. Oh, looks like we still have 2 more. Then it'll be time to start some material study research. I'm not going to be in too big of a hurry, save for one tech, and that is the steam turbine tech. Josh has finally earned their final skill point in decorating, which means it is time to throw down a bunch of landscape canvases. We're up to 157 pieces of reed fiber, so this should work out well. And I'm going to do the same thing that we did inside of our great halls, and that's what it's going to end up with. Except maybe I should alter it a little bit. Something like, yes, that'll look nice and clean. I suppose I need to move this gas pipe a little bit further over. It is in the way of our wonderful paintings. Not a big deal, especially considering I'm going to end up doing this a bunch more times as we add more oxygen supply to the system. This, of course, is going to take the 2 decorating dupes, Doritos P and Josh, quite a long time to do. Ooh, we can't forget our friends over here. Unfortunately, they only get 1 painting. Well, I suppose I can move this over, and I might be able to squeeze another one in there. Well, this pod kind of decided itself here at Cycle 147. This pay has a lot of problems, being bottomless stomach and narcoleptic. And Harold and Mima are almost identical, except Mima also does farming. Welcome to the colony, duplicate number 52, King Kip. We've made some pretty good progress with the digging, even if it doesn't look much like it. But the next step is going to be a little awkward because I'm actually going to use this chlorine gas vent because I think it's time for me to start ranching some puffs. Now, this squeaky puffs can take 30 kilos worth of chlorine and turn it into 28.5 kilos worth of bleach stone, which is enough bleach stone to feed, well, a lot of water weed. I don't love the fact that we'll have to irrigate the water weed, but you get a lot of lettuce for just a little bit of material, so I think that may be worth it, because then I can take the lettuce and the fried mushroom and turn it into mushroom wraps, which the dupes would like a little bit better. Alternatively, I could add some omelets and turn it into some mushroom quiche, which the duplicates like even better than the mushroom wraps. I also want to ranch some regular puffs so we can start getting a source of slime. I'm just not 100% sure how to keep supplying them polluted oxygen. But with the advent of the new critter pickup combined with the critter drop-off, I think we can get a much better puff ranch going. Of course, I just realized I only have 1 puffed. Where did the rest of your friends go? Oh, there's one. Hello, little pufflet. Oh, game, what are you doing to me? I have the choice between a bottomless stomach dupe or 2 dupes that are flatulent. This is a true rock and a hard place. I mean, taking a look around the colony, it's not like the gas situation is doing great anyways, but having a bunch of natural gas just randomly appearing everywhere is sort of problematic. I guess there's a first time for everything. Welcome to the colony. Duplicate number 53 in our first flatulent dupe, Chen Chen. Yes, Chen Chen is gonna be a flatulent cook. Also in the background, we finished the other SPOM. Well, finished, it's not exactly fired up or anything yet, but we have all the ingredients in place, automation, gas pipes, so sometime during the next episode, we'll probably fire this thing on. I'm thinking that maybe we avoid using this tundra biome, and maybe it can be the first one that we use a steam turbine thermal aqua tuner cooling system for. Update on the zombie spores, we're down to about 500,000 in each tile. Things are going good. What's odd is we managed to put a little bit of slime lung in here, so I think I can actually accelerate this process by digging out this tile and then digging out this slime, although it does look like the water may stifle the slime. So I think I'm just going to put a tile so it'll lift the slime up, and then the slime lung and the zombie spores can keep battling. Eventually the slime lung will win for the simple fact that the source of the zombie spores is gone. It doesn't spread like slime lung does. I think it's about time to restart. These dupes are not appropriately named. That is obviously an Abe and a Meemaw. In this case, we're going to be taking the Meemaw, except they're not going to be called King Kip again. Which, ironically enough, this duplicate's name is also Andy. In our Patreons, we have 2 Andys, and looking at it, they're both different people. So I apologize to the second Andy for getting the moniker also Andy. If you leave a comment on this video, well, I'd be more than happy to name you. Welcome to the colony, here on cycle 153, duplicate number 54, also Andy. without restarting, the pod managed to fix themselves, other than the fact that I've never seen a pod with two of the same dupes. In this case, we're going to be taking Liam Left, who is the clear winner over Liam Right. Welcome to the colony, duplicate number 55, M. Seal. In the background, I've also set up a temporary puffed ranch. I want to play around with this a little bit before I come up with a final design. I'm starting off with 2 critter drop-offs. I don't know if we need the critter pickup yet, but once I finish on a good design, I'll end up liquid locking it in because, well, eventually we're not going to have polluted oxygen everywhere. This will at least start us on a permanent supply of slime for our mushrooms. I also have a couple of incubators here. One is going to be automated so it can be lullabied. It's a little further away, so I'm going to say 75 seconds. And the reason why it's automated is because it's responsible for standard puffs, whereas this incubator only has to do pufflet princes, and will only need to be 1 pufflet prince within the 75 cycle lifespan of that critter. Definitely do not take this as a final design, though. I have no idea what it's going to end up looking like. Alternatively, I'm going to be duplicating this design-ish when we start doing squeaky puffs using this chlorine gas vent. Now, the squeaky puffs, you can see, have a slightly different comfort range at 60 degrees, which is good because the chlorine gas vent erupts at 60°C. Unfortunately, the puff prince does not like 60°C. Their comfort range is 40, but their livable range does go up to 100. So we're going to see how this works out. If I have 1 unhappy puff prince versus 7 happy squeaky puffs, well, that works. I've also managed to core out, well, quite a bit more of this area. Didn't quite get to our power spine today, just due to the weird nature of the digging here. I did end up having to pump a lot of this out. I'm going to also use this for a liquid lock here for the squeaky puffs. But I'm pumping all that salt water all the way over here to our weird quasi-saltwater brine tank that is maintaining a temperature of around 60-65 degrees. The zombie spores have almost been eradicated. We're down to 58,000 germs in each tile. So by the end of the next episode, they will be gone. We, of course, completed about 95% of another SPOM. That'll be ready to go when we hit Dupe 60. And we made some improvements on the decor. Now the duplicates are not only eating, but also sleeping very nicely. And our morale is paying off for it. Most duplicates are between about 18 and 25. And I don't think we're ever going to use any more skill points than, say, 15 on any dupe. So I'm pretty happy where the morale situation is. I would have been able to update you more down here, but we were still pumping all of this out. We're almost to the point where we can start mopping it. So this whole system will come online next episode as well. Fingers crossed. But I can tell you we have seen 1 oil reservoir and, well, even more sporkid problems. But I'll be able to drown those with a bunch of crude oil. Still haven't found our first slickster yet. I do plan on using the slicksters to further amplify our water supply in the future. We'll see. So probably not the progress you were looking for, but it is the progress we made. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And until next time, much love, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.